hand it over to LeAnne. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Maddie. I appreciate you having me. And welcome, everyone. And for this session, my name is LeAnne Williamson, and I'm an executive coach with ATI. But near and dear to my heart is always how you can make employees better, what you can do for them, which in turn then pays off for you, where you can do it together. And I absolutely adore communicating as one of the best skills we can ever have. But G.R.O.W is a process that you can use with your people to make them better than they absolutely ever thought they could be or can be, or even expected that they thought they could be. Something also that you get a payoff when your benefits that you get is you get to receive the work that you need to be successful in your business. So working together is what this is all about. And you're the leaders. And as leaders, we need to learn to become a good servant leader. And that's what our focus is about. And G.R.O.W counts as a strategy to help get you there. It is all about communication and coaching and making sure that you elevate the opportunities, but not just elevating the opportunities, elevate the skill of the people that you work with to help them achieve their personal goals, but also yours as well. They need to be in alignment. And to do that, you have to communicate. You have to have conversation, dialogue. You have to talk. You actually have to get to know your people. And G.R.O.W is a good process for that, in getting your folks to receive in life what they want, but also get better performance for your business and working for you. But besides being just a strategy to make that happen, it also is a very simple tool to help you drive those results, to help you get the production out of your folks that make them happy in their life, but also happy in your business, and you both are achieving the inroads to where you want to go. And as a servant leader, we really look at leadership now of being a servant leader. And that means thinking of the other folks around you. It's kind of like Kim Blanchard when he turned the pyramid upside down. And on the very bottom is leadership. At the very top are your customers, your associates, your employees, working through the system where everything that you do is focused to help them succeed. It's a little different. So as a servant leader, think about what we need to do, which is very easily see the future. You engage and you make others better. You develop your associates and you solve issues for your clients or customers, and then constantly trying to break through, reinvent, brainstorm, try new things. Mike Michalowicz has a fabulous book out right now called Get Different. If you are marketing like everybody else, your competition around you, you're not getting noticed. So reinvention is a powerful skill that you can do as part of leadership. Valuing yourself, your results, your relationships have to be very important. Also, your mission statement and the values you have as a business have to be known by your associates as well. And then embodying those. Walk, live it, drink it, sleep it every day. You embody those values of who you are and what kind of business you are for your community. So they'll want to come to visit you. They'll want to do business with you. You even attract workers when you have environments like that, because they want to come work in that kind of place. They're like, wow, there's a leader that cares about me, communicates with me, and G.R.O.W as a tool can help you develop that, because it's more communication between you and the workers you have to get results. And they get results in their personal life that align also with your business results, so everybody wins. And that's what we're trying to do. When you think of it as a strategy, we look at, I call them the 4 C's, and they're everywhere. You see people talk about them all the time. But for me, communication is the base of where we have to start and have to continuously move forward with, having conversations with your teammates, conversations one-on-ones with people. It has to be clear communication, and it has to be congruent. My actions, what I do as a leader, yours as well, and with your people, it has to be congruent with what you're saying. So what I verbally am communicating, my actions have to be in congruency with one another, or else it's kind of, how they say, do what I say, not as I do. Well, it's really not like that. You want to be in congruency with what your business values are, what you're asking them to do, and then you're there to help them along that path to get it done. We're trying to elevate them to be able to do better, be better, and achieve more. That's the idea. And in order to do that, the GROW process puts in front of you, not just checking in, not just supplying feedback, and not just holding them accountable. It's vital that the commitment is maintained consistently and that the accountability is there for self, for your own behaviors, but as well for their expectations and their role in the business. GROW can help you do that. The GROW process, it's part of envisioning what it is you want. So it's mainly about, first, the goal setting. What do you want? What is it you guys are trying to accomplish in your business, and what are they trying to accomplish in their life? And then there's reality check. The reality check is, what does it look like right now? What's currently happening? Where are we right now? That's reality. And then options, what can you do to close that? When you think about options, you have the current state, here's where you are. You have a desired state of here's where you want to go. Inside that is called the performance gap. We have a missing piece. We're not there. Here's where we are. We want to be here. How do we cross that big divide? How do we get there? GROW is a process that can help you do that. Then you discuss the way forward. What do we need? How do we need to do it? What tools will we need? What's the action plan? This is movement. Nothing happens without movement, and you have to take action. That's why GROW is so important. Couple things, your associates, that you got to keep in mind. Two very vital pieces of GROW that are really important, and important for anybody's business with engagement, is all associates, including yourself at some point, want to know, how am I doing? And then what's next? How am I doing? Am I being successful? Am I achieving what I'm supposed to? And then if I am, great. Then what's next? Keep me excited. Keep me engaged with your business by having dialogue with me. Keep me as an associate on your side, wanting to help you achieve what you want to in the business, and you're helping me achieve what I need to in my life as well. So let's pick them apart. Let's take each one. When you look at goal setting, the desired state that you guys actually want, what is my short term and my long term? So what is my 1 year, my 3 year, my 5 year? What is my 10-year, 5-year, 10-year goal? Short term, long term. Make sure you share both. You don't just want a short term hit. Make sure there's a longer, and then here's what eventually you want, and then work your way back. Even when you talk in years, there are milestones to what you're trying to achieve. So make sure you do the same thing with your folks. And what will it look like? Okay, be specific, not vague. Absolutely write out as much as you can to be specific about it. And it wants to be objective, not subjective. So your goals, make them objective so that you can measure, count them, see it, have feedback with it, hold people accountable to the expectations of it. But please work very hard to make it objective and not subjective. Subjective is, Maddie and I could be looking at the exact same thing. I see one thing, she sees another, and it's all perceptual based. And it's our perceptions that make us see something different, and our beliefs, everything behind that. But if I'm very specific, that is a red ball on the ground. Maddie can see that if I'm very specific. If it just says that's something round on the ground, then I could say an egg, she could say a ball, she could say a lemon. Doesn't really matter. But if we're not specific, then it's open to interpretation. And this is where miscommunication can start right off the bat, is if we are not on the same page. So let's be real objective when you're making your goals. How to do that? Once you've done that and written it, now let's find out how we are. What do we have that can help us get there? That's a nice SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis focuses on, okay, let's get together and see what strengths we have, what weaknesses we have, where are some opportunities we have to overcome those weaknesses and grow and get better, and then where are the threats? What's getting in the way? What's a barrier that we have that's not going to be so great? Once we've done that, now let's see. I have my big goal. We see where our strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities are. Now, that's our target. So now let's set some micro goals in between. I want to make sure we put some milestones in there so that we have many successes along the journey where we can celebrate, where everybody can know they did a really nice job. Hey, we hit something. We made it. We hit a target. Now let's move that target a little more forward, but start with the big one and work your way back to set your micro targets along the journey. So when you think about the desired state and our goal that we want to set. When I mentioned earlier about an exact picture, I mean, visualize it, see it, hold it. There are goal posters that people have in their homes or that people do for their jobs, things they want in life. Goal posters are really kind of cool. They put out there, what is it you're trying to achieve, but it's in front of your vision, so you see it constantly. We have that kind of goal poster in business. We have our measurement tools. You have production boards that you use to share with people how you're doing each week. You have, some people use, in my past where I was previously, we had a thermometer that we would put up to meet our targets for the month, and we would fill it up and we would erase or whatever we need to do. And they had a fun time doing that. Tracking and measuring can be fun, however you want to visualize it. So if you guys know at the end of the year, you might want to buy a brand new alignment machine, then great. Put a big picture of that alignment machine out there in the shop somewhere. Put your objective of what you need to make this purchase happen right beside it and start marking it off. Where do you want to go? Measurements help people really visualize and see what it is, as long as I can get a picture of it, if I can see it. So visualize it, get an exact picture. And then here's the big piece of it. Everybody is going to have a specific role, a specific part of that. So you got to set the expectation so that we each know what our role is. Once you've done that, now it's time, I got to have dialogue, conversation, a part of it. You got to get clear on what it is, clear on the path, clear on what it is you want. And then you have to get them to agree. Everybody's got to have buy into it, or else they may not want to participate with you. That's what's really hard. You can talk a whole lot about, here's what I want to do, here's where we are. All of us can. What you really need to focus on, this is dialogue and communication and conversation, vital. I got to get with you and make sure you're on the same page as I am. And that question isn't like, okay, Maddie, I'm just going to use you, Maddie. Maddie, so are we on the same page? She says yes. I say yes. Okay. Am I really sure she's on the same page? I don't know. I can say yes to just about anything, but I might go. A different question might be, okay, well, let's see. I appreciate that you're on the same page with me, Maddie. That's wonderful. So how do you see our goal? Open-ended question comes to her for her to say back to me the clarity in what she and I are on the same page with. I want her to share with me. So interesting how we talk to our people and go, you got it, you got it. And they say, yeah. And when they go do it, it's different than what you had envisioned, but I was not clear. So gaining clarity is vital. Once they have that buy-in with you and they can agree with you, now you guys, you've agreed on it, written it down, we're going, let's go. And then along your journey, you're going to measure. You're going to measure. That's what that goal is going to look at. You have a plan now. This is a goal I want to have. To get the information for it, when you look back at your data to see how you're doing, you got to know really, in reality, I want that goal. Yeah, I know. Wow. Okay. But where are we? Here's where we are. We are in, this is our current state. These are our numbers. This is what we're trying to achieve. This is where we currently are. You're discovering the gap. You got to figure out where you are now and then where you want to go. So I need to know what is happening right now, whether it's a behavior, whether I have a guy coming in late every day, whether I have a guy that has too many comebacks, whether I have a sales associate up front who just cannot seem to do the intake process right, never license plate, never VINs, whatever the issue is. And it isn't always negative, but if I've got something that is happening that is not desired, I need to have it tracked and know exactly where I am right now. So if I have an associate that's late 10 days out of a month, out of 30 days, I need to know specifically that. I don't want to walk up to them and say, well, I got an associate who's late. You're late all the time. What's late all the time? I'm not late all the time. Now you have arguments. So what we're trying to really do is get specific. That's why you want to know your reality check is based on fact, objective data right now. What is getting in the way? Now, my current state's got some issues. Here's where we are. Here's where we got to go. My goal's out here. I got my desired state, but I got this big cavern in between, this big gap in between that I got to figure out what on earth is getting in our way of making that happen. Well, this is part of what we're trying to do is make this happen. So part of reality check is recognizing that maybe my team doesn't have all the skills, doesn't have all the knowledge. Maybe they don't know everything they need to do before we move forward. So how do I find that out? What do I do? When I'm talking with my folks and finding out, here's where we are, here's where we want to go, guys. Let's check our ability. Okay. Are we capable of doing that? Is your associate capable of doing the job, or are they capable of managing those alignments? Are they capable of handling the front counter by themselves? First, check ability. That's the easiest thing to fix, isn't it? With ability, what you do is I need to tell them how, show them how, allow them to do it, evaluate them, and offer feedback so they can perform better. That's the great idea. So ability is easy, because if they don't know how, I can actually get them, train them, get them to practice, teach them how, have them practice some more, give them feedback, and let them get good at it before moving on to something else. So ability is pretty easy. A couple of other things when you're talking with your folks as to how come in my current state reality, I may have issues getting to where I want to go. There can be also structural problems, and structural problems are based on what's getting in the way as a barrier of me accomplishing it, which can be processes, can be another coworker. Actually, it can be even you. I'll share with you a cool example of this. When I was a manager in a facility, I couldn't figure out why my guys, just the worst thing, they would never, ever get their seat covers and take it all together. They just wouldn't do it. The door was there, the ticket's there, they know the process is in place, seat cover every time on a car. And it just wouldn't happen. So I thought, what is going on? Ability, they're perfectly capable. So I looked at the structural part of it, and my service manager and I started noticing that when they walk out the door with the ticket keys are there by the door to go out and get a car. Everything wasn't there. The floor mats were there, the steering wheel covers were there, but the seat covers were back at the back of the shop. So when they walk out, if they forgot the seat cover, they're not going to go back and get it. Waste of time. So we had what I call a structural issue of the seat covers need to be with the floor mats. Okay, that makes sense. So we moved them, and we ended up making what's called I call it a diploma, and other people have called it a diploma. You take the seat cover and the steering wheel cover, you put it all together. Here, you take the seat cover, roll it up in the floor mat, put the steering wheel cover around it with loosely, and you got a diploma. So they just grab one of those out of a box from now on. But it was very easy to fix because the seat covers weren't even anywhere near the door going outside. That's what we call a structural or a process issue. Or another process issue for folks up front. This is kind of interesting. When the customer comes into your facility, instead of them coming in and you've got to go all the way back outside again, if you see them coming, take the initiative and go outside before they walk back in. There are lots of ways you can save time, energy, and you can just make yourself more efficient by examining your processes. Are they structurally not sound to make it easier for people to be able to do them and duplicate them, be consistent and repeatable without issues? And then what we have to do next after that, if it's not structural, if everything seems to be okay, let's move to confidence. Well, with confidence, you're talking about your associate. They may have the know-how, the ability, they may not have anything getting in their way structurally, but they may not have much confidence in getting it done because they haven't done enough practice. Confidence is one of the harder things that we overcome, because we've got to help boost them up. We've got to help make them feel better. So with confidence, it's more of practice, 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 and then feedback, feedback, feedback. I have to encourage. I have to help overcome that fear. And that fear for them is they're just not confident. They stick their big toe. They want to go swimming, but their big toe goes in the water. Ooh, that's chilly. Then the foot, then the knee, then the hip, then okay, finally they're in. It takes some work to build up that confidence, same as it would take to get over the cold to get in some cold water. So confidence is a harder one to identify. Structure and ability are very easy. Those you can fix easy. Confidence and motivation, that's two different things. You have to work with the emotions of a person and really have good conversation about helping them know that they can do it and that they're capable. Next is motivation. This is the pretty much last one, is what's driving them. Whatever's driving them may not be what you want. What motivates people is different for all kinds of reasons, and it may not be on the same page as yours. So motivation is very important. Make sure they want to do it, not because they have to, but because they feel compelled to, because they're on the same page as you, same vision, same alignment with you. We want them to do it. This is also where you can find some negativity where, okay, he doesn't want to, he's upset about working, he doesn't feel he needs to do it, he's not on the same page with you. That's very important to find out, because they can be your saboteurs or your negative people as well that poison your environment, your work environment, and they make it very difficult for you. It's like they're all three things. They're capable, structurally sound, confidence is high, they just don't want to. Whew. That's a hard person to get around, but it can be done. This is what the GROW process helps you with, is to find out what of these is maybe getting in the way of accomplishing what it is you want to accomplish. A behavior, a skill, a measured goal that you have, it doesn't matter. But whatever it is, find out what's behind the gap. To close that gap, I have to use this process to help me find it and then move forward to overcome it. Once we've done that, and we found out what we need to do, then now it's time to agree, and we call it an agreement. Maddie and I would have to look at each other and go, yes, here's what I see, and here's how you're feeling, and here's what will help you. Do you agree? Not just yes, how do you see it? Make her share with me what it is. Make the person share with you what they're seeing. It's really important about that not just, do you agree with me? Yeah. Hate the yes. The yes don't work. You could interpret something from me entirely different. I said, did you feed the dog? Yeah. Come back 30 minutes later. Is the dog fed? No, I forgot. Let's be specific, Willie. It helps with communication. And some of you will have heard a lot of this in some other pieces, but when you talk about reality check and finding what the current situation is and how to move next to options, what can we do about it? It's also head, heart, hands. Where's their head? Where are they? How's their mindset? Where's their focus? Heart, that's the motivation piece. What's behind that? Do they even have the desire to want to be a part of the team? Are they willing to become part of what you're trying to grow with your vision and your goal and setting that? Are they even willing to become an active participant in your business to do the job well? And then hands, that's capability. It's all still out there. What you're trying to do is making sure that they're on the same page with you. And you're confirming it by seeing what their barriers are. Okay. You've got to know what it is I have to do to close that gap. And in most cases, it's fairly simple. A lot of it's practice, a lot of it's structural ability, training, education. The motivation is probably the hardest one that I mentioned. And that's something you guys can focus on moving forward together with them. Well, what is it that makes you hate working here? I don't know. Well, you say you're miserable here, so please tell me. I'm asking, what's so wrong? What's going wrong? And allow them to share with you. It takes an effort on your part to use this process, but the results are astounding because they end up on your side. But not just that. Now they're a part. They go, oh, I've got a leader here who actually cares if I can perform this task or not. Oh, I've got a boss who wants to see me do well. That's what you're portraying when you use this process. So once you've gotten the current state and reality check, you see the issues that are out there, to cross that great divide, the gap, the performance gap. Now it's time to, let's see, we got to figure out some things to do. What options are going to correct that? Now that you've got an idea, it's either capability, training is always there. Capabilities, like I mentioned before, is the easiest. I can train, I can do a mentorship program, I can buddy them up with another person in the shop. I can do what I need to. That's fairly easy, and then allow practice, offer feedback, and let them get better. But it's not just, don't try to fix this by yourself. The associate should own this, is really to own what the fix is, but they're developing this with you. So how do we fix it? Once you have that, who's going to be needed? Okay, what do we need to make this happen? How are we going to make it happen? And then the next question would be, what's going to force you to move forward? What's the reason behind moving forward? Not just because I'm telling you to, not just because this is your job, your expectation, not because you have to. What's it going to provide you in doing this well? What's the benefit with him? What's in it for me? Everybody always wants to know what's in it for me, right? So what's the benefit? hey, it'll take less time next time I do it. I've got more energy because I'm excited now to be at work. I'm more confident. Hey, I'm doing way better, man. I'm making more money. My boss is making more money. We're taking care of more customers. We got more cars. This is kind of exciting. One of my favorites is autonomy. I start being able to make decisions for myself that are worthy and are moving me forward in growth. I get better. So you provide me some autonomy to start making some decisions about where I'm going. I can get jazzed up about that. I'm a part of this. I'm a partner. That's the idea. And when problems occur, whatever you're happening as you're progressing to change the behavior, change a skill, improve a task, improve a job, whatever it is your focus is going to be, we want to open up their eyes to whatever it is, face it. Immediately face it. Track it, just like reality check. Follow it. Find out what is going on, and then put the fix in. Don't waste time. And it's A-okay. Be the first to raise your hand. I got an issue. I made a boo-boo. I made a mistake. I made an error. Oops. I need to do something about it. How do we do that? They're more likely, when you're concerned about their growth and development, to come to you when they make a mistake. Not just to find out, but when they actually physically make a mistake, instead of waiting for a comeback to happen, instead of waiting for someone to notice, they're going to start saying, hey, whoa, back up. I got an issue going on. They're going to bring them to you more likely. Face it, follow it, track it, measure it, see what's going on, and then put in a fix for it. Handle it. Part of options as well is it's just like agreeing on the goal, agreeing on the gap. What is the performance gap? Options is no different. When you develop those options, you've got to get the agreement again. Hey, we got the option now. We're going to focus on, here's some options available to us, and we have to agree that we're going to start fixing it. We need to fix it. Identify how you're going to do it. And it's always on that journey. Be sure to monitor and measure the entire journey and the milestones. I can't share with you how important it is. I don't want to share with a brand new associate I've just hired. Okay, I need 70 billable hours from you this week. Ouch, that's kind of scary. How about let's get you to 70 billable hours in 30 days or 60 days, and then put some milestones in between there for them. So the idea is help them in measuring and letting them achieve some and celebrating during that journey their success. The idea is to have buy-in. If you don't have buy-in from the associate, everything that you're doing is not, it's wasting your time, but it's also wasting theirs because they don't want to be there. Please work very hard not to consider the grow process as a hostage situation with your people, not even from your perspective. You have to have buy-in to the process of coaching and developing your people first before you can actually go attempt to try to do it with your own folks. Don't do it because we're telling you to or suggesting that you do it. Don't do it because somebody else tells you you have to do this. Do it because you see what the value is, and then they'll be able to have belief in it as well, because the process won't work if there isn't any belief. So that buy-in from that associate of what you're attempting to do is important, because it is all about them in the improvement of what they're doing on a specific behavior, skill, or task, whatever it is y'all decided on. This is about them improving. It's not about you and what you want. It's about how to move that person forward to make them better for the job, task, skill, whatever it is you're focused on for the organization, to be better for the team. Once that agreement and commitment is established, hey, then let's go. Let's find out. But before I do it, I want to get it in writing. I want to make sure I have it in writing. Think about decisions that you make for your business. Decisions are, is it good for the customer? They're based off, you kind of want to make sure you put it through the test, the litmus test. Is it good for the customer? Is it good for the associate? Is it good for the business? All three. If I get a yes to all three of those that I ask, that's a pretty good deal. All right, this is a good decision. It's going to positively impact everybody else around me. So if I get a no to one of those or more than one of those, it doesn't mean that it's still not an action that I want to do. What it means is I just have to have some consideration about what I'm about to do. I need to consider, because when you think about what we're trying to do is influence the behavior of these folks and get them to agree and commit to move forward, to go from where they are currently to where you want them to be and overcome that gap. And the action plan that you write down and they agree on to move forward for that way forward, that has to be very solidly, objectively based, and make sure they agree with it. And then there's roles and responsibilities after it's written out. But when you make those decisions, sometimes there's going to be a no to one or the other. It happens. It just means you need to do your due diligence to whether or not it's a good decision or not. So when we think about our action plan, when we write it out, we need to be very specific, as we mentioned. I must make sure it's objective so I can count it. So if I look over and watch and observe a behavior, I can see it, Maddie can see it, Chad can see it, Eduardo can see it. We all can see it. If we see the exact same thing, that's objective. If we see a vagueness to it or it's open to interpretation, then we're not being very objective. We're being subjective. I can't allow my perception. Don't let any prejudices or biases in here either. It needs to be objective. I've got to be able to count it, measure it, and then keep a check on it so that when we do meet again on a regular basis, weekly, we suggest weekly one-on-ones with your people, or more if it's necessary. It depends on what you're trying to do. But measure, so when I come to someone to coach them on a task, behavior, skill, job, whatever I'm trying to do, I've got to make sure that I have facts with me. It's not just a statement out that says, you know, you're not doing that right still. You're answering the phone horribly. You're never finishing those jobs fast enough. I need to have specifics. I can say a statement that says your oil maintenance services take you 15 minutes longer, 15 minutes than necessary. Instead of an hour, how about 45 minutes? The last 10 you did, 7 of them were 45 minutes long. So let's talk about how we can cut that time down and make you more efficient. How's that sound to you? All right, let's discover what's going on. Let's review the process together. Walk through it with them and find out where the gaps are and what's making that person take longer. But I don't want to just say, you take too long doing your work. I can't count how many times I hear that in a day. My tech takes too long. My service advisor takes too long. It's all too long. All right, really? Okay, where is it then? Where is the length of time being swallowed up? How do we break it down to find out where is our gap that it's not working right? That's why objective information is more powerful, because then I can really pinpoint what exactly is happening and we can do something about that. I can't do something about, well, somewhere our breakdown in our process is happening. It just takes us too long to do this stuff. Okay, it does. Where? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. So that's why being objective is very important. It helps you find the areas that you can improve upon and influence the process in a way that it's going to create the goal that you're trying to get to. What we stated at the very beginning. What is the goal? What are you looking for? What does it have to look like? Once I have my measurement, I'm looking for it to be totally attainable by the person. It's absolutely wrong if I put pie in the sky and make it completely unrealistic to you. That's not fair. It's not fair to anybody, business or you personally. So the person that I'm with, make sure that it's attainable for them. Make sure that they're going to have all the tools, what's necessary for them to make it happen, the classes, the reading material, whatever it is they need, the mentor, the buddy, whatever is going to happen, make sure it's available to them and make sure it's reasonable. Then I have to make sure it's relevant to their role, their job expectation, their roles and responsibilities. If it isn't, then it's not really fair to them either, because I don't want a dialogue coming back or a statement that might say, hey, LeAnne, you know, I get what you're saying and I see the benefit. That's just not my job. I'm not the manager of that. Oh, oops, then maybe that's not the person. But if it is, maybe you need to go back to the beginning and find out really what is this person's roles. This happens a lot. And I really want to drive this one home with you. We ask a lot of our go-to associates. There's somebody on your team that is your go-to guy, and they will do anything in the world you ask them to do, which is very powerful. Unfortunately, it also is a trap that you can over abuse, over ask. You can just ask too much of that individual far too often. And at some point, it can get to where that's not my job statement comes. And we know what that phrase is. That's not my job. You don't want anyone ever saying that to you, because there's frustration, animosity, there's built up anger behind that kind of statement. And to work through that, SMART works very well for you, because you're going to make sure whatever you're asking of this person to correct, do better, faster, or learn a new skill, whatever you're asking, is relevant to their job expectations, roles, and responsibilities. Absolutely. Once I've done that, boom, put a time frame on it. It's fascinating how we spend a lot of time doing feedback, but then here's what happens at a feedback session. A typical one that I see often and we hear about, and you may have even experienced, is, hey, so Maddie, you're going to leave here and you're going to work on selling more tires a day, etc. Let's say 4 more tires a day from now on, correct? She says, yes. Here we go. Thumbs up. She's ready. Well, a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, another month, and maybe I get it a little bit, and she will. She'll come out all energized or whatever. But then what's going to happen? All that energy is just going to fizzle away because I didn't get back in touch with her. I didn't check in. So a month later, I might turn around and go, man, we are not selling tires anymore. Maddie, you're not doing your job. You were supposed to sell all these tires. And that's unfortunate, because had I followed up and celebrated that it was happening, or put the milestones in and checked in with her every week, I might have gotten some consistency with that and kept her going, because it's a weekly meeting, 10, 15 minutes. We're not talking about an hour every day, guys, for your folks. 10, 15 minutes. It's a check-in every week. And if you're measuring something, terrific. If you're not measuring anything at the moment, then you ask, so how's the work coming along, Maddie? You got any challenges or anything you're trying to overcome out there? Okay. We have a little meeting. It's not always negative. It isn't. You focus on the celebrations too. But I would have gotten more consistency had I checked in on those tire, how she was doing with the tire goal that we put out there, than if I just let it go and thought it was fixed. One time I told you to do it, it's fixed. They all think one time it's fixed. It's not fixed. Our job as a leader and to be a servant to really help them develop it into a consistent, repeatable process, make it disciplined. We're holding them to the discipline that they'll do it consistently all the time. That's what we're trying to help them with. And so what you got to do is put a time frame on it. On that time frame, we're going to meet weekly. I'll check in. We'll see how it's going. And as they get better on something, particular item they changed, let's see how you do for 6 months. Okay. So now we're 90 days, 6 months comes, 90 days first, 6 months then, and then a year comes and they're still doing great with something particular that you've asked them to change. They're still escalating and growth is happening. They're doing what you asked. Folks, they're always on parole. This is an job expectation that you put on, is I don't let them go. I don't make the statement, now you will be doing this every day from now on, correct? They go, correct, yes. And then 6 months later, I like, why are you not doing that anymore? Well, this is what it is. You're only on parole. We never let go of what our job expectations and our roles and responsibilities are. We keep it up front and center, and we check in with them. We don't harp on it. We just check in. So if you're doing great in 90 days, I go, okay, well, let's check in 90 days on that and see how particular. I'll still be looking to see the measurements with you. We'll still meet weekly, but I maybe don't have to target that particular item anymore because you're mastering it. But I still know what's going on because it's part of your roles and responsibilities. And it's what we agreed was part of a goal for you, a behavior change, a skill, or a new task, or a new job you're learning. The idea is to keep that close and near and dear, but they just are on parole. There is such a thing as regression, where I can have a perfect employee and then all of a sudden, whammy, all of the work is deteriorating. Terrible habits are starting to come through, which they never had. The work is getting worse, not better. So then this is why one-on-ones are important, is because we go back to when we talked about reality. What is happening? You have to find out what's going on. You don't know yet, but you haven't taken the time to figure it out. And this is what one-on-ones and G.R.O.W stands for. It's communicating with the person to find out what is going on. Remember, they want to know How am I doing? And what's next? What's next? Part of that was, so we talked about making a SMART statement. So you list out your action steps, take your notes along the journey. But the biggest thing is keep the measurement going. Make sure you know what is happening. And every week you check in with your folks. And there's some that say, LeAnne, there's no way. Phew, once a week, I don't have 10, 15 minutes. Well, we always find time in our life for anything that we covet. So how do you put one-on-ones at the utmost part of your list that says this is a mandatory task, a priority that I need to make happen? Well, part of that is to asking, going back to your initial, what is my goal? What is my with him? What's in it for me if I do these one-on-ones every week and I monitor and measure my team and I help them get better? What's in it for me? Less stress, more time for you to work on the business instead of always in it. More time for you to be away with your family. No more late nights, no more early mornings, no more trying to sub all the time. You get a better life and better results for the business, better numbers, better profits, better everything. And the associate does too. With him, what's in it for me for them is I'm not being fussed at often. I'm getting better all the time. My boss is very happy with me. I'm liking my team. Hey, I can ask for a day off and I get to go do things. It's a win-win for both parties when you use G.R.O.W. Okay. That's what you think to yourself when you say, what's going to make this a priority for me? Well, what is it you want? Because getting your people educated, trained, developed, and continual improvement happening constantly, that's what's going to make that happen. Your life's going to get better. Biggest thing is don't forget, hold them responsible, be accountable. That's what one-on-ones will do for you. Expectation plus observation, what your measurements and observations you see, being objective, that's what accountability will stand for. So, cool process? Yeah. Hard work? Certainly. But it will become rhythmic to you. It will become like anything else when it becomes a habit. That consistency, they'll begin to rely on it. They'll want it because you're taking time out of your day for them to make them better. One thing I do want to make sure of is that when we leave, I want to share, there are some obstacles that are going to get in your way. It's confidence. Confidence is the first one. Like, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Or it's also, oh God, what if Maddie sitting here is going to yell at me and go, LeAnne, I don't do any of the stuff you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not possible. There's confrontation and anger and some emotions that can come through with this, and you might not really feel comfortable about that. So you have a fear of confrontation. And then of course you think it's just going to tank. It's not going to work. Or, you're just afraid, well, yeah, whatever you say, they're going to be ambiguous at best, and they're just going to acquiesce to you and say, yeah, whatever. Okay, I'll do it. Yeah, whatever. And then they go out and they're doing the exact opposite. They're not doing anything they discussed. So there is fear that is involved in starting one-on-ones and starting team meetings when you are not a person that's a public speaker, or you're not someone who wants to stand in front of a team, or you're not a person who really wants to engage in trying to teach somebody one-on-one. It's fearful. So how do I overcome that? Well, think about it. Practice, 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 and just begin. Having these kind of dialogues with friends in your family and some family members, you can just try that with your child. Many parents out there have this same dialogue as they're teaching their child. So you've kind of done it through your life if you have children, or if you've ever just helped friends along through any part of their life, you've done it before. These dialogues are already a staple in your life somewhere. We're just fine-tuning the G.R.O.W process so you can use it with your employees for improving skills, improving behaviors that they have at work, improving the goals that you want to reach and aspire to in their personal life and in your own business. Each one of them has that. So it's a self-imposed fear. False evidence appearing real. I absolutely love that. The confidence. And here's the other thing. Fear of they'll blame you. There's no trust, sabotage, all of this you can feel inside. And then external, this is part of the situations and events that can happen. We ourselves, the leader, has to be very careful that once you've committed to this, you want to keep the deadlines firm. You don't go rescheduling all the time. You don't go changing dates all the time. You just absolutely cannot forget about it. Then there's no importance to it. This is a commitment that you're going to make with that associate, and it's a pact that y'all have agreed on. This is when we're going to meet each week. And when it's unclear and it's unknown what the benefit is and what the reasoning is before it, this is important. Simon Sinek, if you guys haven't gone to TED.com before, or you want to check out Simon Sinek's video, Why? It's really important. It's about people can align with you and begin to follow you when they understand what the why is. What do you want me to do it for? If you can educate me on that with the vision and the mission, and how come it is that with this process we want to do it, the why is really important with your team. And too many competing priorities is another thing that we see with the business, and you guys probably see very well. That's too much information and too many competing priorities out there. Make sure that you want to keep it simple. KISS principle, keep it simple. And then we got other simple things that can get taken care of, malfunctioning equipment, other stuff, just people interrupt everybody all the time. But there's events and situations in your business that can cause obstacles to occur that this won't work, and the internal ones. And some of it from your associates, because they'll, the company coat of arms is blame somebody else. It's never me. Shit, blame it right here. So learn about those with yourself and look at your business, see what you're doing with it. This process can be successful when you overcome those fears and obstacles. To be clear about the dialogue that you have, the coaching conversations, a check-in where you're progressing with somebody on their goal. You ask them, well, what's working? What's not working? Where are you stuck? And what can you do about it? That's as I'm progressing. That's a check-in dialogue as I'm progressing towards something, versus feedback when you're sitting in a one-on-one with someone where something's already been done and you're trying to look back at it and evaluate it. Feedback is, well, what worked for you? What didn't work? Where did you get stuck? And what will you do differently to correct for next time? Two different type dialogues when the check-in is happening and feedback. They're not the same thing. So just make sure you're addressing the right dialogue when you talk to them. So when you think about the benefits of this, we're talking about focusing on moving towards the goals that you guys want. Trust. The fact that you, the leader, the boss, took 10, 15 minutes every week to sit down just with me elevates me and makes me feel important. And this is really important too, folks. Be sure that you don't do it with just one or two people, because then the others start feeling not as important, and they can get hurt by that. Whether you think they will or not, it's not important. Remember, it's all perception. They see two people get to talk to you every week, but not them. When you do it, you're all in or not all in. Make sure it's every associate you connect with. And then it definitely develops the talent you're looking for, skills, and it's totally what's possible that they can do. They never dreamed they'd be an alignment technician as an oil specialist. Who knows what you can help grow and develop with them, but that's the importance of communicating one-on-one with them. Motivation, relationships, you're all going to get that. And certainly the results that you're starting to look for too. The other piece of the GROW journey comes to look like this. We are trying to make people uncomfortable. When you're uncomfortable and you step outside your comfort zone, being uncomfortable helps you grow and develop and become something better. So you're out of your comfort zone. Once I do step, remember that going into some cold water, I put my big toe out there, I'm in some fear. I can find any excuse in the world to make me not do it. My confidence is low. I don't know that I can do it. That's fear. That's that false evidence, and we have to push through. We're going to help them push through that fear into what we call the learning zone. And that learning zone is where you're picking up new skills, new behaviors, you're reading, you're expanding your knowledge, you're applying that knowledge on different situations at work. These are challenges that are now starting to come, and you're like, maybe I can make it through here. You are their cheerleader all along the way to help them do that and measuring their progress. Once I'm in the learning zone, I acquire some new info. I push through. I'm in growth, man. I'm getting better and better and better. I've never done this before, and now 30 days later, I can do it now. Woohoo! And we're their cheerleader. We're the one who's going to help them do that. But it's a painstaking process that requires you to be committed and them to be committed. You have to agree that this is what we're going to do. That's why agreement is really important in this process. It's very much like the Deming wheel with continuous improvement. Plan, do, check, act. Goal, reality, options, and our action plan way forward. They work together, but it's continual. It doesn't stop. It's an ongoing process for the betterment of your associates and your business, and even you, because you can't help but grow through doing this giving process that you're doing with your people. You can't help but do it. So in reality, think about it this way. Your associates will feel valued. You've spent time and energy with them. They feel like they're very important. And then, hey, we've got a better working relationship. I can even expand you into my business where I can help. You can be in my decision making. I've now partnered better with you. So what ideas do you have? Reinventing what you want to do to be different, or like Mike McAllowitz's book, Get Different, which is very powerful. That reinvention is going to require you tap into the resources that you have, all the knowledge that your associates have, but you have their brains, you have their creativity, you have lots of information there that we just never tapped in before. You don't have to fix everything yourself. You have your entire team that can help you. We just have to learn how to listen, ask for it, and listen properly to make it happen. And then you're now starting to also develop the mentors. They can mentor and grow your other staff. Your staff is growing because now you have an engaged workforce. And so people want to come and work for you, which is a good thing. You can now offer others apprenticeships to mentor and grow because the business is now expanding because you're achieving your goals together with your people. And that development is what's going to make it happen. They get better, you get better. Now you're in what's possible. What can we do? I don't know. Sky's the limit. We can see what we can do together. Makes a difference. So thank you all. I appreciate it. I did want to open it up and see if you have any questions, or if you want to share with me. I've got a couple of debrief questions. Anything that you guys have about the growth process that you want to ask about? Chad, Eduardo, or Maddie, even you?
I just want to thank you for taking the time to meet with us and give us some information to help us grow in our business and with our employees, and give us a new way to communicate and focus and redirect us.
It's my pleasure, Chad. I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it. If no other questions, then I'll just put this here to help kind of guide you with tools, Chad, like what you're saying, Eduardo. One-on-one weekly meetings is just one way to do it. It's one option that's available to you, 10, 15-minute meetings. Team meetings, there are a lot weekly meetings where people, if they know what they need to do and they know where that measurement is, they can focus on something. So the check-ins, team meetings, or here's how we did last week, here's where we're going this week, let's see how we could do. They're daily huddle meetings that a lot of people do, but any way you look at it, have a standard operating practice that means this is your growth and development. Your appraisals that people do quarterly or semi or yearly, at the end of that appraisal, there's always that section that ought to be of how do you see yourself? What do you feel you need to develop, work on, and grow? And we need to be very mindful of that they want something in their life too. We just have to have those dialogues. The better you get to know them, the better for you. And at the start, the onset, we can fall down so easily here. Have a good job description, have good roles and responsibilities, and an onboarding process that kicks them off the right way and shares with them your SOP of here's your growth and development along the way. Here's how we're going to stay in touch. Here's where you achieve your goals. Here's where we can achieve. It's in alignment with the business. Here's how you can make yours happen and ours together. And then always, they need to know their they need to know their KPIs. They need to know their indicators that are going to help them be successful when they win with you. Use some testing. There are lots of personality testing out there. Social styles is key. If I am a driver and I have an analytical in front of me, I need to make sure I give more detail. Each social style is very important personalities, and a big key for the leader to be a good servant leader is they are to adapt to the other person, never the other way around. Do not make your employees adapt to you. The idea is you be able to adapt to them to make them better off leaving you from a dialogue where your listening skills and the way you make them feel better leaving than when they came in. And the only way to do that is to adapt to the needs of the listener. Okay. And then journaling. Note taking, nothing beats note taking, because then you can have that forever and you can keep it forever and have it for a long period of time. So I do hope it inspires you and that you'll pass it on to other folks. And hey, there's some feedback forms and stuff with ATI. I know we have a close relationship with you guys here. I'm sure Maddie has access to many of that, and I hope she'll be able to help you. But it's been a pleasure. I'm been glad to be here. Thank you, Maddie and Eduardo, Chad. Nice chatting with you for this lunch hour.
All right. Thank you, LeAnne. We look forward to implementing at least one takeaway from today's webinar. That's my rule, is you can learn at least one thing. I did. My takeaway is being more clear on communicating, make sure that the other party I'm communicating with is clear as well, and make them repeat back to me what I think I said and what I mean.
Exactly. Good for you. Good for you, Maddie.
Well, thank you. And
thank you.
We have our next meeting is the third Thursday of the month. That puts us at November 18th. So we look forward to talking to ATI again on that day.
Excellent. Thanks so much for having me. Bye-bye.